Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show on this October 20th, 2022, a Thursday. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad to have you guys here. The stupidity of government goes beyond measure. I was looking at this. I stumbled across this last night, and I listened to the story and I just couldn't believe it, and I'll tell you why. It's this story right here about the city of Berlin, New Hampshire. Uh, they've got a they they've given them $20 million to put in heated sidewalks. This is what got me. I got thinking about this for a minute. And I've lived in the north and lived in the south. Uh, I lived in the first half of my life. I lived down in the south in Florida. Second half of my life, I lived up here in Canada. I learned some few things about living here in Canada, about ice and snow and things like that. Well, the only way a heated sidewalk would be any good is if it's cold outside. You wouldn't want to heat your sidewalk in the middle of summertime. I mean, it's already hot enough, isn't it? It practically burns your feet. But no, you do it in the wintertime to try to keep your feet warm, I guess. I don't know. But what I do know about snow is snow on the sidewalk. If it does snow on the sidewalk in the wintertime, it's like crunchy and you can walk on it unless you get an ice storm, But the snow comes down, lands on the sidewalk. And if you heat the sidewalk, the snow will start to melt. Well, I'll tell you about ice. Snow is not hard to walk on. It's not real slippery. But you melt the snow down, and then it forms a glassy, smooth ice that's easy to fall and slip on. The best way to clear snow off is to clear snow off, not try to melt it off, because then it turns to ice if you try to melt it off. And also, what are they trying to do? Heat your feet while you're walking? I just don't understand. This is so far beyond my comprehension, a heated sidewalk. Or are you trying to heat the world? Because the sidewalk's outdoors. You do realize it's outdoors. You're not heating a house. You're heating a sidewalk that's going to go off into the world. Try to heat the whole world. You know what I mean? It's impossible. I mean, it's just going to stay. As soon as you turn the thing off, well, all that melted water you put on there is going to turn into glaring ice. I mean, the whole thing doesn't make any sense to me. And it's $20 million. Well, it does make sense in one thing. If they do have a lot of homeless people there in the city, maybe they can lay on that sidewalk there. I mean, it's heated. I just don't know. Is that what they're thinking about doing with this? I mean, I'm just asking a lot of questions about this because it just seems like lunacy to heat a sidewalk. We heat buildings. Why heat a sidewalk? Come on. It doesn't make any sense. It just seems like a waste of taxpaying dollars. Plenty of potholes. I bet you this city that's got the heated sidewalks is going to have plenty of potholes on the road that are not repaired. And that's been a big thing for me. Because what it does is potholes, they pound your car all to pieces. You buy a brand new car, in the first year you need new tie rod ends, new ball joints, new everything in the front of the car. It's all pounded to pieces with these. One pothole can mess up the car's steering. A brand new car. Just one pothole. And they got not just one pothole, they got millions of them out there and they ain't fixing them. They're supposed to use money to fix potholes or at least pave roads and keep our roads fairly smooth. There's not even a resemblance of smooth out there, but they want heated sidewalks at the same time. Let's move on and talk about something else here. Well, annex these regions in Ukraine. If you haven't been keeping up on the whole saga of the Ukraine war out there, what happened is the areas where Putin has moved into, his troops into, he's done what's called annex them. And this is when they hold something called what they call a referendum, and then the people will supposedly vote, and then once they annex these territories, and they say, well, they're ours now, they're ours now. The people voted, they are ours now. It's almost like some sort of trick they're pulling, some sort of racket. But now they're saying that they're gonna, these territories here, that they're going to. It says that these 4 recently annexed territories, and that's what they did. They annexed these. They just basically took them, these territories. And then they're saying now they're part of Russia, and now they're saying that they're under Russia's nuclear protection. It says all of those territories are now an inseparable part of Russia, and therefore all of them are under our protection, Putin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters. Specifically in response to the journal's question over whether these new regions absorb the Russian Federation's fall under its nuclear umbrella. It says it's under Russia's nuclear protection. But this is where the war's ongoing right now. This war is such a big, for me, in my mind, it's such a big nuisance. Absolute nuisance. It's time for humanity to get over it, because this is very dangerous. The fact that Russia is going to said that they're under this nuclear protection. This is very dangerous in the world, because there's a war going on right there, and these areas, up until quite recently, were part of Ukraine. And now they're saying this. The last thing we need is more nuclear. Nuclear is the biggest pain, and the biggest pain in the rump for mankind that there ever was. Is all these nuclear power plants like Fukushima and just all the stuff that can happen when they leak, radiation. The world was not introduced to massive amounts of radiation until the nuclear age, and now what's happened is any part of the soil around the earth you can find these nuclear elements like cesium and everything else. This is going to already have been affecting us around the world. We have nuclear elements inside our bodies and stuff that children that were born like in the 1800s didn't have this crap. So maybe you wonder why there's so many cancers out there and leukemia and stuff like that. Is because of our politicals, the people in charge. And in the end, they'll have the earth so radioactive we won't even be able to live on it anymore if they keep on with this crap. It's the world leaders. We as people out there, we never commissioned the building of any of this nuclear stuff. I don't think the people out there, if they ever once come forward and said, we want a nuclear reactor, that's what we want. No, it's always some big shot behind closed doors signing the papers to have a nuclear reactor built. Or a nuclear this, or a nuclear that. It's them. It's their baby, and they're going to irradiate the earth in the end. We will just basically, did you know that if you get enough radiation, the people of Earth, they'll become all sterile if they get radiated enough. And this is what they want? Anyway, moving on, taking a look at the silver price today. It's up 44 cents, $18.90. But it's still being suppressed. So don't get all excited and everything because it's up 44 cents. It's still being suppressed by these bullion banks. They're still active in the market. If this wasn't suppressed, okay, if this was let to just find its price, well, it would go zoom. It'd go up $3 the first day. Gold $13.10 up. We're looking at $16.43. Cryptocurrency today, we're looking at cryptos. We're looking at Bitcoin price at 19,282 and Ethereum at 1303. Now on the Dow Jones Industrial Average today, it's up a little bit. Looks like it's up 300 points at 30,724. Asking me when the crash is coming. Well, I'm surprised, that it's hanging on as good as it's hanging on, to tell you the truth, considering how high interest rates are going. And considering what's happening out there in the real economy, because interest rates are so high. Liquidity is vanishing from the system, but right now, for now, it's hanging in there over 30,000. For now. Crude oil, $87.32. It's up $1.77 on the day so far, or 2%. Move index today, we're looking at 147. Bonds and rates. Now this is the big story right here. You look at this 10-year at 4.15, and it's up 2.8 basis points in a day. And 30 years at 4.16. 4.15 on the U.S. 10-year. I said we were going to have trouble if we went over 3.25% quite some time ago. Well, we're in the trouble period right now, but nothing's happening right this second. But that doesn't mean that we're not in trouble because the U.S. 10-year is over 4%. We are in trouble, massive trouble. It's just that it's not happening right now. It could just start all of a sudden. All of a sudden, it could just come out of nowhere because we are up at these high nosebleed levels and we're moving higher. Something's going to break. That's what I'm saying, is it hasn't broken just yet, but something's going to break. It's almost like taking say you had a hot plate, and you had one of these glass tea kettles, and you get it up to boil and you pour your hot tea in the glass and you forget, and you grab the hot glass tea kettle and you throw it in the sink, in the cold water while it's still hot. And you're like, oh, it first goes in, and then nothing happens. You're like, hey, that's okay. So you haul it out of the water, and say, look, Fred. You haul it out of the water. Look, Fred, it didn't break. And as you're holding it there, all of a sudden it goes snap, bang. And it breaks into a million pieces of glass all over the kitchen. Because of what just happened. It was a delayed reaction. And what's just happened is the U.S. 10-years now went well over 4%. That's like taking that hot glass tea kettle, and dunking it in the cold water in the sink. You got away with it. Just right now, you got away with it. But it could shatter the glass, because glass isn't meant to flex like that. The heat and hot and cold contraction, glass isn't meant to do that. The same thing's true. Like if you guys got a nice glass mug that you like to put coffee in or tea in, always put a spoon, a big spoon in before you pour the hot water in. Say, well, why? Why do that? It's because the glass doesn't like to expand or contract really fast, and you'll shatter your glass. But if you put the hot spoon in there, the spoon will absorb that. It does something anyway. It makes it so it's not near as likely to crack it if you put a spoon in it. I learned that years ago from my grandmother. She was really a tea drinker. Oh, she loved her tea, I'm going to tell you. But she taught me that trick when I was just a kid. She said, look, you pour the hot water in that cup, and it'll break the cup. Glass cup. She said, but now put this big spoon in there, now pour the water in, and you'll be okay. I don't know how that works. I don't know how the laws of physics of that works, but it works. Anyway, guys, look, this is going to break something right here. This is like the hot water coming into the glass, and the glass hasn't broke yet, but it's not meant for this kind of business that they're doing right now. They're pushing the envelope. Anyway, U.S. dollar index today. We're looking at 112.40 on the dollar index, and dollar's falling down some today. So listen, thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the very next episode. Bye-bye.